Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome. My name is Chef Jenny, and this is Homemade Cooking. We are so excited to see you. Hi Deb. Hello. I'm just not here by myself. We've got, for the first time, introducing Chef Meg as co-host. Hello, Chef Meg.
Hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited.
Chef Meg has been one of our most supreme talented recipe writers. Some of your most favorite recipes have been written by Chef Meg, and now she is here on the mic, guiding us, as we know, in charge. So we are so glad you are here. Thank you, Chef Meg.
Yeah, thanks. Me too.
And not just us, but we also have our wonderful friends from the Veal Council here. This class is all about veal. If you don't know, check it out, veal.org. Amazing recipes, amazing tips on cooking veal, any and everything you need to know about veal, they got it. So please check them out. Meg is going to go ahead and add that in the chat. Really check out the recipes. Pretty amazing recipes. We're doing today an herb-crusted rack of veal. How special and beautiful does that sound? But on top of that, we're also doing some sage Hasselback roasted potatoes. And then all over everything, we're making a little salsa verde. So spring vibes, special vibes, all the good, delicious, special occasion vibes in one class. So it's going to be really good. If you have any questions, we love to interact with you live. Please go ahead and add those questions to the chat. Chef Meg is there to answer those and to direct them to us. And we also like to interact with you live. So if you want to talk to me, you can. All that we ask is that you go ahead and share your camera. So we're going to just waiting for a little more people here to come in, and we'll get going. Hopefully everyone's used to veal, likes veal. If not, this is a great class for you. I'm all about veal. I'm Italian. It's everything veal. Veal scalpini, veal milanese, veal parmesan's probably my favorite. It's not just because it has breading in it. It's because I love it. I might be spilling. I feel vulnerable admitting this because it's a secret for me for my recipe, but I do ground veal is a portion of my meatballs and why my meatballs are so tender and flavorful. I've said too much. That's all I can't say anymore, but don't sleep on veal and meatballs. It's really, really good. So we're gonna keep waiting as a couple more people come in here as Meg admits them to the chat, and we'll get going here. A few more people coming in, and gonna talk about over here. We've got a beautiful herb, garlic, oil, salt, and pepper rub that we're going to do, that we're going to spread over this rack. This is a rack of veal. If you've never seen it, it's amazing. It's delicious. Kind of just like a rack of lamb, but it is beef, and just a different age of beef, a little bit younger beef, but it's got that really good tenderness and flavor. And what I like about veal is that it can really absorb really strong flavors and kind of take those on. So that's why we're going to make this really strong garlic herb paste, and then all this veal is going to absorb that up. So we're going to get going here. I think we've got everyone in. If you were here last week originally for our class, we had a little hiccup, so we're returning triumphantly. We're back. We made it happen. It was destined to be. So we're so glad to see all of you and have you here now. And let's get started. Yeah, are we all ready? You ready, Chef Meg?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
You're ready. Born ready.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start over here. Here we've got our beautiful rack of veal. About 4 to 6 pounds is what we're looking for. On the Veal website, veal.org, please check them out. They have got great resources, especially for shop locator. If you're looking where to get veal, you can also, as we homemade, we're very big about encouraging you to talk to your butcher. Say, I don't see a rack of veal here. I would really like one. They usually can order it and get it for you. So don't sleep on it. I really like this for special occasions because I was raised in a prime rib family. I mean, we love beef for special occasions, but That's a really big piece of meat, and it takes a long time. So I like the rack because the presentation is so beautiful. Don't you love the presentation, Chef Meg? I'm like something where you see that rack with the bone on there. Beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Right?
it's a showstopper.
It's a showstopper.
And you get to carve.
You get to like, it, bring it to the table and carve it. It's so beautiful. So that's why we like it. And you can see it's a little bit of a flatter roast. So it cooks in a lot quicker time than a larger piece of protein would. So it looks beautiful and then cooks a little quicker. So that's what I love. We've got some fat on here. I'm okay with the fat that's on here. If you have a really thick cap, you want to trim that down to about a 1/4 of an inch, but you do need some fat on top because as it roasts, this fat is going to melt and kind of baste over our veal. So you want a little bit. It's a fine line of where you want to keep. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start up on my kind of marinade that we're going to do. So I've got some beautiful fresh mint leaves here, some garlic cloves, and then some sage. These leaves have been washed and picked. So you don't want the stems because they're going to be a little bit bitter. I'm just going to go ahead. My salt is abrasive. I'm going to add a pinch of salt here, and that's going to help kind of grind everything down. And then I'll add to my bowl here and season with some fresh ground pepper and some really good olive oil. Can't love this enough. Fresh herbs. If you've got some rosemary, could you use it? Absolutely. 1,000% you can use it. You got a little parsley you want to add in here? Add the parsley. Go in your garden. What is awakening right now? It's springtime. I know the weather is so varied across the country, but we are in Seattle, and the big news here is that it's going to be 70 degrees on Saturday. I cannot express to you enough what a big deal for this it is for us. There probably is going to be parades out in the street. No work will be done. The entire region, Western Washington, will be out partying because it's finally breaking 50 degrees during the day. So I'm just going to chop this up. So hopefully you have some fresh herbs growing right now. If not, go to a farmer's market is a great place to go to get really nice fresh herbs. If you can't find good quality stuff in the store, always check a farmer's market. A trick during the winter in an ice cube tray is if you got a big bunches of fresh herbs, is to put them in the ice cube tray and cover with oil and freeze them in little herb pucks. And then you can put them in a freezer safe bag, and whenever you need some herbs, you can just defrost them and they've already got the oil in there. So there's lots of ways to get some nice fresh herbs. Look at that. I wish you guys could smell this right now. It smells like Sunday roast to me. Garlic, sage, mint. It's a party. Again, whatever herbs you got around, you can throw in here too. But I think the earthiness of the sage and then kind of like that little brightness of the mint really elevates the flavor of the veal. So I dig this combination. So I've got my mince here. I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Honestly, I mean, there's not a lot that you would rub this on and it wouldn't taste amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and add it into my bowl here. And to this, probably add a little bit more salt, because this is a big piece of veal, my fresh ground pepper, and then I have some olive oil here. And then I'm just going to mix this around. And then just go ahead and spread it on my veal here. This veal, depending on the size, but for this size, I would probably let it sit out on the counter out of the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour. You don't want your protein to be straight out of the fridge, 35 degrees, 32 degrees, and going in the oven. You're not going to get the most even cooking that way. So it's really good if you can go ahead and let this sit out. Any large protein, especially around the holidays you're doing, you should always kind of let it come to temp, as they say, on the counter. So we've got that, and we just want it. Please do not misinterpret this as take it out in the morning and go to work for 8 or 9 hours and come home and then it's good to go. That's not the same thing as coming to temp. You only want it around, again, 45 minutes to an hour or so. Larger pieces, a bit longer you can go, but no more than that. So there we go. Isn't that beautiful? Look at all that marinade. I really kind of massaged it in. We've got our fat cap here. Each of our rack of bones is right here. You can ask your butcher. A technique is called Frenching the bones, which is you can take out a little bit of the meat in between and scrape the bones if you want a more pronounced rack bone. So that's only a presentation thing. You don't have to do that, but if you're looking for those really defined pieces, handles that you can grab, you can ask them to do that. You can do that yourself with a paring knife. So rack of veal, looking beautiful, delicious, garlic, herb marinade, goes into the oven starting at, and I like to put a rack on a roasting pan. And that way the veal isn't sitting directly on the roasting pan, it's a little elevated, and that way the heat can circulate around it. We're looking initially 450 for 15 minutes. We want a high heat to create a beautiful caramelized sear, and then we're going to drop the heat 350 degrees, somewhere between 60 and 70 minutes. What we're really looking at is for a final temp of around 145 degrees. So in order to do that, you're going to want to pull it about 5 to 10 degrees before it gets there. Let it rest, and as it's resting, it's going to hit that final temp, especially if you want to cover it with a little foil. So I'm just going to wash my hands here because they be garlicky right now, and it smells incredible. Chef Meg, how are we doing out there? Do we have any questions?
No question. Oh, yeah, we got a question. Let's see. Gary is raising his hand.
We got a question?
Yeah.
What do we got?
Unmute him. Here we go. Careful, Gary. Oh, we can't hear you, Gary. Oh.
How thick is your veal?
Can you say that one more time? You broke up.
How thick is the veal chop that you're cooking?
How thick? Yeah,
About an inch thick, inch and a half?
This roast, I would say, is about between 2 and 3 inches thick. At its thickest point, it's probably closer to 4. It gets a little thicker towards the middle, but overall, we're somewhere between 3 to 4 pounds here. Great question. Thank you. Really good, Gary. Okay. Gonna give my hands one more rinse, and then we're moving on to our potatoes. Listen, St. Patrick's Day is this weekend. If you're looking for some really, I feel like potatoes are on sale right now. They're all over the place. Chef Meg, could you grab me another cutting board, please?
Of course.
Let me get one more here. Potatoes are all the rage right now, and they're on sale. So this is a great recipe to use. Use up some potatoes. If you got some in a cupboard hanging around, you're thinking to yourself, I can't have mashed potatoes one more time, then this is a great recipe. Hasselback potatoes. That name, and I will admit I learned just researching for this class, it's Swedish in origin. So, thank you. Just gonna put this over here. This is a Swedish invention. I am doing everything in my, don't worry, I'm not gonna do a Swedish accent, but I'll admit my instinct is to do the Swedish chef from the Muppets because that's what I was raised. I'm not gonna do it, Deb. I can't, I couldn't possibly, but the instinct is really overwhelming right now. So what does Hasselback potatoes mean? Basically, think of like you're fanning out a little deck of cards here. We are going to make slits in these potatoes so that we're creating more surface area to get browning and color. And we're going to stuff some sage and some salt and pepper in between. And as it roasts, that sage is going to infuse the potatoes and it's going to get really flavorful. And I'm all about the extra surface area. So this is a winner. I no hate on mashed potatoes, but if I had a choice between that or the crispiness of a roasted Hasselback, I'm going Hasselback all the way. Okay, I'm just gonna melt a little butter here. I'm going unsalted because I'm gonna season with salt and pepper. If all you have is salted, that's fine. Just be mindful of how much salt you're actually sprinkling on the potatoes. So I've got about, so I'm thinking 3 to 4 tablespoons here of butter. And then these are some beautiful Yukon Golds. Yukon Golds are my preference because they have enough, the starch content's perfect, where they're creamy and fluffy, but they're not mealy. If I had to choose one potato for like the rest of my life, it's Yukon Gold. So here's a little trick. I've got some chopsticks here. I'm gonna put them on my board. And my butter's melting. Meg, is there anything better than melted butter smell?
Maybe like melted brown butter?
Melted brown, wow. You just immediately gave me a better answer. This is why you're in charge. Oh my gosh, well done. I mean, it's pre-brown butter. It's phase 1 of brown butter is melted butter. Nuttiness, just yum. So we have garlic, herbs, and now the nuttiness of butter. You know, it's a good day. So I've got chopsticks here. I've got them on my board. And then I'm gonna lay my potato on here. The reason is that I have the chopsticks is that they are preventing my knife from going all the way down. So I'm able to create this fan, but still keep both the potatoes all together. You can carefully do this with a knife, but having the chopsticks here just gives myself a little extra support to not cut all the way through. You could also use straws if you have them. We just need 2 similar sized sticks on either side of the potato to make sure we're not cutting all the way through. Then I'm going about, say, 1/2 inch down. You can go as thick or thin as you want. It really depends how much little thin crispy slices you want. Careful of the ends because it's easy for those to just fall off. And look at that. And you can kind of see, I love that yellow color of a Yukon Gold. It's just the most beautiful color inside. And that's how we create that fan. I'll do one more. We're doing 6 overall. I feel like that's a good size here. You can do more or less. You can do a full sheet tray if you're having a lot of people over, a big party. So I'm just slicing down through here. My chopsticks kept my knife from going all the way down. And then again, I've got this little fan, but it's still all held together here. I love this. And my butter is melted. Oh, the best. And I've got my potatoes here in a tray. So this butter is going to be for the second stage after we roast these. And then we're going to roast them for about, I'd say 40 to 50 minutes, depending how much you're doing. Also how spread out they are on a tray. This is kind of the perfect casserole sized dish for 6 potatoes. If you've got a sheet pan around this size and they're spread out like this, if you've got that much space in between, just know that these are going to cook faster. So the first thing up is a drizzle of some good olive oil. And we'll just drizzle this all over. Love it, love it, love it. And then potatoes need a lot of salt. Be confident with this sprinkling, y'all. So I'm getting some really good salt in here. And then fresh ground pepper. We always talk about fresh ground pepper here because it's a huge flavor difference. Pre-ground pepper versus fresh ground, it just has a brighter, forgive me for the descriptor of this, but more peppery flavor. So I am going here with some fresh ground. Are you a fresh ground girl too, Chef Meg?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you judge people when you see pre-grounds? Like, and then later for holidays, buy them a pepper grinder?
Yeah, it's something like that. Like, I try not to judge. But
it's not judge, but it is like, can I bring you in on something?
yeah, like I would be sad if that was my only option. I don't want anyone to live like that, you know?
No, we all deserve a better quality of life. If you can't have a mansion with a pool, you should at least aim for fresh ground pepper for yourself. That's what I feel like. It's a really doable thing. Okay, so I've kind of just careful. You don't want to break these apart, but I'm kind of going in with my hands a little bit and just getting that oil and that seasoning in between the slices here. So just kind of working my way through, really getting that oil and the seasoning all around. And then I have some fresh sage leaves picked off the stem. Like the best, the most woodsy, beautiful smell. It just smells like a special occasion to me. I think because it's a big Thanksgiving herb, I smell sage. I'm like, oh, it's the holidays. I love sage. Not enough being used during spring and summer, and I want people to know sage is a year-round herb. Get yourself some sage. It grows really well here in the Pacific Northwest, so I am all about it. I'm going now through the potatoes. About every 2 slices, I'm inserting a piece of sage because this will then, every slice I feel like is a lot, but doing every other, really that sage is going to get crispy. And with that oil, it's going to kind of just melt down into the potato, and it's going to add a really nice aromatic flavor. If you don't have sage, please, like, potatoes absorb any and all herb flavors. Chives, rosemary, whatever you got, use it up. Love this. So we're just adding these in here. And if you are making this for a special occasion, 'tis the season. There's a lot of celebrating going on right now. Spring has sprung. I think spring officially starts next week, which I'm going to be honest with y'all, I still thought it was January. So it is, I can't believe we're about to halfway through the 3rd month of the year. I don't know how that happened, but with spring starting, it's nice to have a really special meal on hand. And what I like for special meals, I don't want special meals to translate to we're all just standing in the kitchen while everyone else is in another room having fun. That's not fun. I don't believe in that type of hosting. So if you want to do this stage of the potatoes, get this sage in here, and we're going to roast them up. Again, 425 for around between 40 and 50 minutes. You can stop there the day before you're saying having people over. And you can even marinate your rack of veal the day before. Put these in let them cool, put them in the fridge. The next day, take them out. And then you can brush them with butter and finish the last step. These, we're doing a little TV magic, are gonna go now into a 425-degree oven, 40 to 50 minutes. And then I'm going to do a little special potato magic here. Go. And look at those. Look how beautiful those look. Oh, you've got to see these. The beautiful sage has just kind of melted into the potato. They've shrunk down a little bit. They're starting to get some color. I'm now going to add some of our melted butter. So it's been about 45 minutes in the oven, and now we're taking them out and adding melted butter. And this is going to add more flavor and also going to help for that final browning. Smother these potatoes in butter, y'all. Smother them into submission. if you're going to the trouble of making a beautiful rack of veal, then this is not a time to skimp on butter. Each of those little slices, we just want to get that butter really, really in there. And then if you want, you can take a little chance now too and add a little more seasoning if you feel appropriate, a little more salt, since as they roast, they fan out a little more, so it kind of creates more opportunity to get some seasoning in there. Additional seasoning you can add in here, smoked paprika would be lovely. Garlic or onion powder at this stage would be really nice. I mean, kind of hard to think of any kind of flavor that wouldn't be really lovely in here. Chef Meg, what else would you add in here? I mean, it's amazing on its own, but...
just a bunch of garlic. Yeah, the garlic.
Just
so much garlic.
Yeah. So much garlic. We are pro garlic here. Always add more garlic. So I'm going to add a little more salt just as I see them fanning open. And I love how deep into the slices you get color. It's almost like we're making oven potato chips here. And I can already tell you that I wouldn't be satisfied. I would need at least 2 potatoes per serving. I'm a potato girl. Browned butter, salt, pepper, yes. So this is now going to go back in the oven. Final stage, we're just kind of browning and getting the extra crispiness at that point, just to finish it out cooking. They should be almost done, but we're just going to finish it out about 15-20 minutes. The goal is just to get them browned. Again, before you add the butter, you can let these cool, put them in the fridge, take them out for the next day, and then most of the cooking is done for you, and then you can easily kind of just put everything in the oven to reheat, warm, cook. That way you're out with your guests eating appetizers and having a cocktail and talking and not stuck in the kitchen with chopsticks fanning potatoes. Nobody wants that for you. Chef Mick, we got a question?
Debbie was saying about how sage is usually used with turkey.
Yeah.
And this is kind of unusual.
Oh.
Can you talk about like how it goes with the veal?
Yeah. Veal has a really subtle, almost like buttery flavor to me, and it really absorbs whatever flavors you're adding in there. So if you're wanting to add a strong marinade, you're not competing with an overly umami beefy flavor. The veal is just kind of absorb all of these herbs, and the sage is just, it really complements a roast. Garlic and sage go really well together. Garlic and rosemary and sage go really well together. So that's the kind of thing of like whatever herbs you can find, add those onto the veal's just gonna suck it up and really get a beautiful caramelized flavor of whatever you add. And sage really does beautiful in the Elan roast protein marinade. I love it. I add in everything. I use it all year. It's just not for... I need to be Sage's PR manager. Sage is for all year. All the year, Sage. Okay, so these guys are going back in for about, 15, 20 minutes, we want to say. Just until you start smelling that butter browning, until they're starting to get a little extra color on the end. And then what we're going to do next here is bring on over our our veal. I'm thinking roast, I'm thinking rack, veal. The veal is you really want to make sure that you rest it. So again, 450 for 15 minutes, 350 for 70, 60 to 70 minutes. The goal is 145 for our veal. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it over here. It's so beautiful. Okay. I have it lightly tinted just to keep it warm. I'm going to go ahead. I think that's the best angle for it. Maybe this. Let me see. I want you guys. Oh, yeah. That's the one. Do you see all those beautiful bones right there? Okay. So it has to sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes. The reason being is that when it comes straight out of the oven, all of the juices are right at the edge. And so when you cut, what's going to happen is that all those juices are going to come out on your board. So you don't want the juices on the board. You want the juices here in our veal. So now that's the thing that breaks my heart the most. That's, I think, the only time. I never want people to feel intimidated cooking for me. But if I ever see someone cut meat straight out of the oven, straight off the grill, straight off the heat, I do. That's the one time where I'm like, actually, why don't we let that sit for a minute? Can you keep quiet in that moment, Chef Meg?
No, because then you lose the juices. You lose the
impossible
moisture.
not to say anything.
Yeah.
I feel like more and more people are getting educated about this and understand that you have to let it rest, but always let it rest. I tented it just to keep it a little warm because we had it sitting on the back. Not everyone loves tenting because if you get a really nice crust on the outside, then that tenting of the foil can kind of trap some steam and actually kind of soften your crust. It's really a personal preference. We just had it back there, but you do you. So the color on this is so beautiful. And the smell's incredible. It's just it smells just savory and fresh and herby, and all that mint and the garlic just really condensed and got marinated. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute as I finish my salsa verde, but I just wanted to have the visual so you could all see how beautiful this is. And then come over here, cutting board. You know what? I'll use this guy. We'll put this guy over here, and we are going to do some chopping. Not even chopping, blending, really. Okay. So I've got myself a little blender here. You can also use a mortar and pestle. What we're making is a little bit of a salsa verde. Every kind of region, country, cuisine has a version of a bright herb sauce. You've got obviously salsas, and I'm Mexican as well in Mexico. You've got chimichurri in South America. What we're using here is a salsa verde that's more of a kind of a Mediterranean Italian version. So into my little blender here, again, you can use a mortar and pestle. I've got some beautiful fresh herbs here, if you can see. Look at that bounty. I have basil, I have parsley, and I have mint. This is going to be incredible. You can also use chives would be really nice in here. You can even add a little bit of dill if you want. But I really like making sure that you have the mint, because I think the mint's gonna reinforce the mint that we have in our roast marinade. And that's what I really wanna get across here. So I've got those fresh herbs. To this, I've got a little bit of rice wine vinegar. This is gonna add a little sweetness. If you don't have that, you can use champagne vinegar, white wine vinegar, even red wine if that's all you got. We have a lot of savoriness in our roast here, a lot of umami. So to brighten up the flavor, we're gonna add some acid in our salsa here. So I have the zest of 1 lemon, and then I'm also gonna do the juice. Get yourself a microplane if you don't have one. They're incredible. They grate spices, they grate citrus, they do it all. And then something, I'm gonna put this guy over here. Something I like to do before I juice my citrus is give it a roll. That way it kind of bruises the flesh inside, and then make sure you optimize all the juice. So good, about juice from 1 lemon here. And this is really gonna help cut through kind of that richness of the potatoes and our rack of veal. To this, I'm gonna now add some briny saltiness and some capers. I got a little capers here. I am a caper fanatic. Chef Meg, I'm assuming you're a caper fanatic as well.
Of course.
I do know there's some peeps out there who are not caper people, but I would challenge you to try this capers in here if you're not, because you're not really getting the straight flavor. What it's just adding is kind of a salty acid to it, which we love that for a sauce. We love that. 1 garlic clove. If you're me, I'm going to be honest, I probably would add like 3 garlic cloves. I always take a garlic as a suggestion. And then we've got here a little bit of, let me see if I can get this guy over here. Red pepper flakes, a little bit of salt. And then this guy is our little bit of our secret ingredient. That is chicken bouillon powder. That's pretty much bouillon powder is like dehydrated chicken stock. It's just got a really concentrated savory flavor. It's like adding a super salt. So that's why we have it in here. You can omit it if you don't have it. If you have some chicken stock, you can add a splash of that in here as a substitute, or just use a little extra salt and you should be good to go. What's not on the recipe, but I'm going rogue, I'm adding a little bit here, is some honey. We've got saltiness, we've got acid, we've got umami, we've even got a little bitter from the charred garlic on here. The one I want a little more pronounced of all the flavors is some sweetness. So I'm just adding a touch of honey. And then I'm gonna blend this up. And then every time, y'all, every time I try to do this, move this to the back so I can really get the blender in here for y'all. All right, might get a little loud. And we'll blend it up. And then finally to the sauce, to the salsa, I'm gonna add some olive oil. And just add that in here. Oh, it smells so bright, so fresh. Really, really nice. Chef Mick, how are we doing out there? How's everyone? We enjoying it? We got questions about veal?
No questions at the moment. We're just, everyone's having a good time chatting.
Hopefully people are thinking about special occasions they've got in March and April, and this is feeling very doable, and maybe I'll make the rotation.
Yeah, even just like it being 60 degrees, that's a special occasion.
For us, it's a special occasion. Everyone should be making rack of veal this weekend in Washington. But just a Sunday, I like doing a nice Sunday dinner of enjoying myself. Be really nice. Maybe your March Madness bracket did really well. That's also a reason to celebrate. So I'm just going to blend this up now that I've got that olive oil in there. Okay. And then maybe we can see it in here. Look at that gorgeous green herb sauce. Beautiful. I'm going to pour it into my bowl here. And then I'm going to taste it and see how our seasoning is and decide how much salt and pepper I want to add. Capers are salty, so I held off on doing too much seasoning here just because I know we're going to get a lot of salt from that. And from that bouillon powder is going to add a lot of flavor. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, give her a little taste. Okay. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I want like the smallest pinch of salt. I am getting some pepperiness from that red pepper flakes. I know not everyone, they're not adding a ton of heat. They're just adding a warmth. But I know not everyone has different heat levels here. So if you don't want red pepper flakes, omit it, just add some fresh ground pepper. I'm gonna add like 1 turn there. And yeah, look at that. Look how stunning that is. Beautiful. Love it. Yes.
We're wondering what's the difference between salsa verde and chimichurri?
So chimichurri will have normally some cilantro versus basil in it. I would say that it's usually parsley, but cilantro is the more major herb in there. And then additionally, the acid is going to be red wine vinegar. But they're both very similar, and different chimichurri, sometimes they're blended fully where you don't see any of the herbs. And then I've seen chimichurris that look like this texture. So it's really varied based on kind of where you are in South America, because it's a pretty popular sauce, especially in Argentina. So yeah, very similar, but got those little slight variations. I do think red wine vinegar is a very distinctive flavor. And I know not everyone is a cilantro person, but I love cilantro. So I'm a cilantro girl. So bring it on. Okay, our beautiful rack of roasted veal right here. We've got our sauce. I'm going to go check on the potatoes, and then it's party time, people. Let's see how we're doing over here. Oh, yeah, those are beautiful. The butter is a sizzling. So I'm going to take these out very carefully. And Meg, just so you know, we do have brown butter over here. We've got major brown butter vibes.
Oh, I can smell it. It smells so good.
It?
Yeah.
It seems so unfair that everyone does not get the smell that we all get. I'm so sorry, everyone, but oh, okay. Bringing over. Okay, can you all see that butter at the bottom that's kind of sizzling, especially this corner right here? Beautiful. And our potatoes fanned out. Okay, coming over here now to our beautiful veal. It's gorgeous. Again, it's such a really light tasting, versatile protein. I'm just going to go in between the bones here. Yes. I'm an end cap girl because I like all the surface area on the end. Can y'all look at that? I mean, look at that, perfectly cooked. Again, I had my food thermometer here. Please, please, please do yourself a favor when you're working with protein, especially for a rack of meat like this, is to get yourself a food thermometer. It is so hard knowing exactly how evenly it's cooking. There's old butcher witchcraft where it says use your knuckles and touch them and then touch the meat. We all have different knuckles. That never made sense to me. I'm a scientist. I'm a linear girl, linear thinker. Get yourself a food thermometer. So this is right at 145. And because we let it rest, our board is not covered in juice right now. That's so important. So I'm going to take my plate. I'm just going to get some of this salsa verde on here. And just do a little bit on the bottom first. I love a rack roast because you can pull the bone up and put it down. Gorgeous. This is the most important part, is which is the best potato. I'm thinking this one. I'm gonna grab this guy over here. Ah, I found her out. Put her right to the side. Right to the, that's the perfect size veal chop to me. I'm gonna do some surgery. I'm gonna try to get my potato. It's so tender. Yes. And then a little hack is, y'all are crazy if you think I'm leaving butter in a pan. So I'm gonna tip this and grab some of that butter and just pour that over my potatoes right here. And then one more dash, maybe just over, just a little dash of that salsa verde over my beautiful veal. And there we go. Roasted rack of veal with garlics and herbs, with Hasselback potatoes and salsa verde. It's time, Egg. It's the most important time. Quality test time. Quality test time. It almost looks too pretty to eat, but I am going to eat it.
It looks gorgeous.
It's that crust. It smells so delicious. I'm going to grab a little bit of the potato. So that's the bite right there, if you can see. I got potato, I got veal, I got salsa all in one. You serious? That is so good. I didn't write this recipe, so as we were prepping and making it, I'm like, this is gonna be good. It tastes better than I even thought. Like, I knew it was gonna be good. That salsa verde with the veal. The veal is so tender. I'm getting a ton of savory flavor of it from it, but it just, you don't have to chew it. It's just buttery and really, really tender. And then the potatoes pair perfectly with it. And then the salsa is just brightening everything up. I gotta go in for another veal bite. This is why I like the end piece, because I get that extra crunchy bits on the end. Perfect. Oh, we are eating good tonight. We wish you all were here, but hopefully you'll make this for yourselves this weekend or in the coming weeks, because this is a killer recipe. Chef Meg, any last questions we've got out there from the team? From the homemakers, from our friends?
Well, they're just wondering what to pair it with, like what vegetables. I said like
Vegetables?
a nice, like a crunchy cold salad or something.
I think just a simple spring mix with a little bit of vinaigrette. You could even put a little bit of the salsa verde as a dressing, just a little oil and vinegar and salt and pepper. You have so much flavor here. Perfect. Carrots are in season right now. I also think some carrots would be really lovely with this, but I feel like because the salsa verde is green, I'm eating vegetables. I'm not saying that's holding up to science or logic, but this is what I'm saying. This is plenty good. But yeah, the great thing about spring is there's a ton of vegetables. Asparagus right now, like this is when the produce really starts coming out and you've got all these beautiful options. So yeah, ooh, just as we're here, one more bite. I can't stop. It's so good. We want to thank our incredible friends at Veal, the Veal Council, and especially go visit veal.org. Beautiful recipes, all the information you could ever want to know about veal. If you still have questions after this class, they've got it answered there. They had some veal Parmesan slider recipe that I have not stopped thinking about that I saw earlier. So that might be happening this weekend. Really good recipes on their site. Check it out. Please give Chef Meg a round of applause for her first class. Well done, Chef Meg.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It was so fun. I loved hanging out with you.
Talking veal and potatoes and brown butter. It's not a bad gig.
Yeah, I'm going to jump across this counter right now.
Well, no, this is mine. But you can watch me eat it. We hope you had a great time. We want you to come back on the 14th. We've got spiced braised American lamb shanks. On the 19th, we've got pistachio stuffed chicken with greens. Good stuff coming up. We love veal. We hope you learn more about veal and try it out. Until next time, you all keep on cooking. Thanks for coming, everyone. Bye.